Hello, I'm Chris Brown, and we're on Taiwan's Kinmen Islands, about as close to China as you can get. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to be diving into why Taiwan, a small island, holds such huge strategic power for both the United States and China, and how it's become a linchpin of the global economy. This is Taiwan's National Day, celebrated on the 10th of October every year. It's full of military bands, lots of music, and also strong political statements from Taiwan's rulers. Taiwan's leaders now celebrate 10-10 Day, as it's called, to emphasize to China and also to the rest of the world that they continue to be separate from the mainland and not subordinate to anyone.
Taiwan threw a big party to celebrate its National Day, but the colorful event only underscored that the island's future is growing more uncertain by the day. So its president, Lai Ching-te, announced Taiwan will build what he called a T-dome, a missile shield to intercept incoming Chinese drones and rockets. China now stages almost daily provocations, and there are indications its navy may even be practicing dry runs for a potential invasion.
National Day events here have typically elicited a strong response from China. Last year, the PRC proceeded to encircle Taiwan with planes and ships in a strong show of military intimidation.
This year, Taiwan chased away a Chinese ship that ventured too close to a Taiwan-controlled island. China's government sees Taiwan as a breakaway province that will be reclaimed by force if necessary. Boosting military spending, though, is controversial. The opposition KMT says more confrontation by the ruling party isn't the answer.
There's no political base for a dialogue between now the DP government and Beijing. So there's no dialogue, and people are becoming more and more hostile to each other.
Taiwan's military is getting stronger, but still relies heavily on U.S. backing, which this expert says under President Donald Trump has become unpredictable.
Accusing Taiwan being like a person stealing everything from the U.S. and who's not willing to pay for service, right? So this basically just hurt a lot of Taiwanese people's feeling.
Taiwan's key asset with both the U.S. and China is its dominance of making microchips. And some here believe that gives their little island leverage as it tries to get what it wants from two global superpowers.
China's military threats against Taiwan are becoming more pronounced, and for decades, this place has been a flashpoint. The relics of a past war may also foreshadow one yet to come. Through an accident of history, the Kinmen Islands are Taiwan's outpost on China's doorstep. Those skyscrapers are in Xiamen, China, just a few kilometers away. For decades, Taiwan's Kinmen Islands were on the front lines of what at times was a shooting war between forces from the mainland and those across the Taiwan Strait. And they could be on the front lines again. In 1949, during the Chinese Civil War, retreating forces of the Republic of China used Kinmen as a buffer against the victorious Communist army. Pockmarked buildings hint at the ferociousness of the battles that ensued. To this day, Beijing claims these islands and Taiwan's main island as theirs, and it has not renounced using force to get them back. There's been an uneasy peace for decades now, but military analysts see strong indications that China is laying the groundwork to take democratically governed Taiwan by force.
We call it 0 day, right? It's not a D-Day, 0 day.
But you do believe it's coming?
Well, they are preparing, so we got to get prepared as well.
China's military has launched a building spree with a big increase in its budget. Its patrols have intensified near Taiwan. American intelligence has said Chinese President Xi Jinping has told his military to be ready by 2027. Taiwan has responded with its own drills, including live fire exercises.
I don't see anything happening.
U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing for a trade deal with China. The United States is bound by the Taiwan Relations Act to give Taiwan the means to defend itself. But notably, Trump did not promise to come to Taiwan's defense.
Jerry. Yes? I'm Chris. Good to meet you.
Reservist Taiwanese artillery officer Jerry Wu drives a taxi, and he works as a tour guide on Kinmen. He hopes it's all bluffing by China. I feel it's overwhelming, he said. There are people here who are nervous, but there are others who aren't. Some people move here from Taiwan, but some come from China, and they marry locals in Kinmen. Indeed, people in this market told us, if you're hostile to China, Kinmen probably isn't the place for you. Business and personal ties are strong with the mainland. Economic connections, including a ferry, have helped the islands prosper, and China is pushing hard to bring Kinmen even closer. In my personal view, China's military exercises are just routine drills. No war will break out, said fishmonger Cherry Lee. And so, Taiwan's government, which is strongly anti-China, is pushing people to prepare for the day they hope never comes. Boosting Taiwan's resilience has become a national priority. This is a class for people to learn or hone skills they might need in case of war. Chang Ching-Chang is a former Special Services officer, now almost 60. He says he hasn't fired a real gun in maybe 30 years. He comes here to practice on airsoft guns. We have to beef up our defense strength and defend ourselves to the point where China will be forced to think twice and realize that the consequences of attacking us will be so damaging that its regime will be at stake, he says. Alex Su is the instructor.
How ready is Taiwan if something bad happens?
How ready? It's hard to say, but I think we are ready. We're just trying to get better. That's it. Every moments are the best moment.
Vice President, very good to meet you. I'm Chris Brown.
Yes, welcome to Taiwan.
In an interview with Taiwan's Vice President, Xiao Bi-Kim said the way Taiwanese people pulled together recently after a damaging typhoon tells her they do the same in wartime.
In the immediate aftermath, we saw tens of thousands of civilian volunteers taking the train to a very small village, coming in every day to help return the township and village to normal, to support the recovery of this area.
China's military is facing internal dissension, and it's purged top leaders. Taiwan makes a lot of microchips used by China, so invading could be disastrous economically. If they start a war, he says they'll have to pay a costly price, so they probably won't rush any move yet, but they will keep harassing us. These loudspeakers once blared propaganda across the water to China. Now, social media accomplishes the same thing. On Kinmen, the past never feels far away. People have learned to live with the echoes of war and the uncertainty of when or if they'll hear them again.
So, how should the island prepare for a potential military attack from China? And what's the best way to leverage its increasing political and economic influence? We put those questions to the island's Vice President, Xiao Bi-Kim.
many ways, Taiwan is riding high. This small island that lives warily in China's shadow has succeeded in cornering the market for making high-end processing chips used in artificial intelligence. Its high-tech focused economy is surging, and for a place that isn't recognized by most other countries in the world, including Canada, a lot of nations are now paying attention. But China's menacing military behavior and unpredictable U.S. foreign policy pose serious challenges.
Vice President, very good to meet you. I'm Chris Brown.
Yes, welcome to Taiwan.
We sat down with Taiwan's Vice President, Xiaobi Kim, where she talked about the potential leverage Taiwan hopes to gain from its chip industry and why it's creating an expensive missile shield around the island.
I want to start with some questions about Canada, first of all. Some of your media have reported about trade discussions that happened with Canada with the previous government of Justin Trudeau, suggesting that Canada's been dragging its feet at implementing them. What can you tell me about this?
Canada is an important trading partner with Taiwan, and our economies are complementary in many ways, and certainly hope that we can move forward in continuing our trade discussions. Over the past years, these discussions have been very productive, and we look forward to continuing.
Is there a delay?
Well, trade talks are always complicated. We look forward to and we're hopeful that we can continue these discussions. Canada has been a big provider of agricultural products to Taiwan, and Taiwan has been a producer of some key technology components that also contribute to Canada's manufacturing. And so, we would certainly like to continue a very strong and robust economic and trade relationship, and it would be helpful to have that legal infrastructure that further consolidates a trade partnership between us.
What is your read right now on the broader dynamic of China, the United States, and how that might impact the very important industries that you have here in Taiwan?
If you are referencing the role that China has played in the global trading system, I think we have all observed some changes and an evolution of China's role. From the 1990s, they had a policy of reform and opening and participation in the WTO and the global trading system, and they've certainly benefited significantly from that. But at the same time, in more recent years, we have been alarmed that China is now using their economic leverage as tools of coercion, including their leverage over certain rare earth minerals or other processes in global supply chains.
You must be concerned, I would think, of Taiwan simply being a bargaining chip in this big trade war between the US and China.
One of our key industries, the semiconductor and chip industry, has been partnered to the United States and the Silicon Valley. In fact, many people see the Silicon Valley and Taiwan's tech parks as one single large ecosystem of technology that drives global prosperity.
I take your point about a joint ecosystem, if you will, particularly in the issue of semiconductors, but we've also heard US officials saying they want Taiwan to move a very large amount of its manufacturing of chips to the US. I've heard the amount is around 50%. What's your feeling about that, and how much is a reasonable amount to shift out of Taiwan?
Well, let me first address Taiwan's strength and competitive edge in chip manufacturing. And that is, this is not something that happened overnight. It took us decades to build. And it was also decades of hardship under very difficult international circumstances. Taiwan managed to build one of the most comprehensive and competitive ecosystems that support high-end manufacturing in semiconductor chips. We have made commitments to investing in the United States, not just TSMC, but broader sectors of the ecosystem, from their suppliers to designers, and other chip manufacturing companies are also working with American firms like Intel to enhance their production capabilities. And so this is a very win-win partnership that we have going on, and we will continue to build on that.
You speak about adversity and a lot of hard work to build this industry up. People we've been talking to here said, well, suddenly, you know, a place like Taiwan that's only recognized by a handful of countries in the world is suddenly no longer invisible. You have a real presence in the world. As a government, as a leader, how do you leverage that into more political clout for your island?
Taiwan has really been treated unfairly by the majority of countries around the world who do not recognize Taiwan's status. But we will continue to strive to improve our democracy, to enhance our economic strength, and to also be a force for good in the world.
How concerned are you that the U.S. may perhaps back off, give China some of what it's asking for as part of a broader deal on trade?
Well, China has never ceased raising the Taiwan issue and their claims in all of their international discussions. However, at the same time, United States policy towards Taiwan has also been very consistent. And we have seen just weeks ago, again, bipartisan congressional support for legislation that deepens and strengthens the Taiwan-U.S. partnership. And we believe that as we have seen President Trump reiterating on many occasions how peace and security are priorities, how he seeks to build peace, I do believe that the security and stability of the Taiwan Strait is an important component of that.
Even today, we've seen in the Strait lots of examples of Chinese ships and aircraft crossing the line, behaving aggressively. What is your government's latest calculus on the threat, military threat from China in a possible timeline?
I think, first of all, I need to reiterate that everything we are doing in the security realm is to prevent conflict from happening. So ultimately, timelines and discussions of timelines are contingent upon our own preparedness and our strengths. It is no secret that China is investing tremendous capital in their military capabilities, and they are also conducting increasingly aggressive military exercises around the vicinity of the Taiwan Strait, which impact not only Taiwan, but others in our neighborhood and the South China Sea.
And I want to ask you about the President's announcement about the T-dome, the missile shield. How's that going to work? How's it going to be paid for?
Now, the President's conceptually, the T-dome is producing a multi-layered safety net around Taiwan that involves air defenses, but also more sophisticated sensor to shooter integration. It also includes different systems and the introduction of software and new technologies to provide that hybrid shield, which, given China's tremendous investments in their new military technologies, will of course be a very challenging task, but we are committed and determined to defend Taiwan from harm.
Vice President, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Semiconductors, or microchips, hold up all of today's technology, and they're the physical foundation for artificial intelligence. Without them, there would be no computing power, no algorithms, and the majority are manufactured here in Taiwan.
This science park south of Taipei is devoted to making some of the most delicate and expensive technology on the planet. The microchips that facilitate artificial intelligence, phones, and almost everything else we use.
Taiwan is the leader of the world's semiconductor industry, and it especially dominates in the manufacture of high-end chips, with one company, TSMC, holding 90% of the global market.
It's an astonishing accomplishment for a small island that most of the world doesn't even recognize as a country. And people here are proud of that success. We don't have to worry too much now that people don't care about us, said 21-year-old college student Amy Lin. We have wafers, microchips, so we have something to negotiate with others. And Taiwan is flexing its new economic muscles, threatening South Africa with export controls over a diplomatic dispute, and standing up to U.S. demands to move half of its chip-making business there.
You cannot ignore Taiwan anymore.
Analyst Jeremy Chan says advanced chip technology, especially for AI, is very expensive and has taken years for Taiwan's engineers to refine.
So it become very, very efficient. I think only Taiwan can achieve this kind of standard of efficiency.
But China is trying. Min Wu of Macronics, a pioneer of chip production in Taiwan, says he believes with its huge resources, China's industry is catching up.
My guess, they are very close now. They are very close.
Taiwan faces an existential threat, though, from China, which has vowed to reclaim the island by force if necessary. So analysts say for Taiwan's government, the challenge is in deciding how to turn its success with chips into political leverage.
This has been a CBC News special from Taiwan. I'm Chris Brown. Thanks for joining us.